Peace, assalamu alaikum. This is Aleem, aka Knowledge, aka Sabio. Alright, this is called The Crown Within, a call to awakening and collective action, part 3. Alright. So, good evening. Whether you are in the world, behind the walls, behind enemy lines, my name is Aleem. I'm speaking to you today from the streets that shaped me, the crucible of East Harlem. But this isn't just about my block, this is about your block, your community, and the path we walk right here, right now. I've lived the life, I've seen the trap, I felt the pain, carried the scars. And I was born again Christian, I carried my cross. Now I'm a Muslim, born again Muslim. Went from Nation of Islam, started in France with Latin Kings. Took my Shahada proper, 2019. By the grace of God, found the hope to carve a new path. This isn't just a speech, it's a gang intervention and prevention call. It is not repression but transformation, a call for political education, for leadership development, for true prisoner re-entry that breaks cycles, not perpetuates them. We've been caught in the loop, haven't we? The block is a trap, and that trap, my friend, leads to two places. The prison or the grave. It offers a tiny sliver of temporary happiness, overshadowed by mountains of mayhem. I've seen it, we all seen it. Someone dies, and what's the answer? Revenge, more bloodshed. But tell me, when does the revenge stop? When does the cycle end? Right? Does a bullet or a retaliatory act ever bring that person back to life? Unfortunately, no. No, it only adds another name to the growing list of the fallen. No, we gotta wake up from the slumber, the dumb, deaf, and blind mindset. We gotta wake up from that. No one wants to be in occupation of martial law, but understand this: the United States Patriot Act 1 and 2 is already out here. Project 2025 is already in the mix. You know, you need to know your politics, know your laws, get organized, stay informed, prepare for natural disasters, how to evacuate. You know, labeling some of our so-called gangs as domestic terrorists. You understand the implications of all that? A domestic terrorist means you have no constitutional rights. And they even have in there that the part of plead the fifth, unfortunately, yo, that shit's crazy. This is my language, but they say when you plead the fifth, you just be incarcerated indefinitely. The United States Patriot Act 1 and 2, when it comes to state organizations, when they call them domestic terrorists, that's a serious thing. So basically, we are not savages, we are not demons. That's a lie that they sold us. We bought it up. You know, we are civilized, we are soldiers, but we are soldiers for freedom, justice, and equality. You feel me? Our mission is to establish the kingdom of righteousness right here on earth. You know, look at the history. We had righteous empires, brilliant minds. Our legacy was stolen. Yes, but it begins to be reclaimed first and foremost, right? Within the mind first. The first jihad is within the mind. The first revolution is within thyself. You know? Allah will not change the condition of the people till the people change the condition within themselves. Right? And the unity concept is Allah made us into different tribes so that we may know each other. Alright? I stand before you today as what I call a born again Muslim, via the Shahada. Right? My journey through Islam, through the teachings of the Quran, has given me clarity. And what does Allah want you to do with those skills that you're using illegal is that hustle, that courage, that strategic thinking. You know, Allah wants you to become a producer. Allah wants you to become a laborer. Allah wants you to become an entrepreneur. You know, to take that sense, that same fire, and build something legitimate. You know, to come out with the lounge, to come out with a social club, come out with a restaurant, or some type of business entity that serves the people within the community and humanity at large. Alright? Not to hug the block. When you're sporting colors, you know, you're actually, you know, repping your crew, repping your organization, your fraternity, sorority. But like the book of Ecclesiastes says in the Bible, there's a time and place for everything. And also, you must realize that if you're doing anything negative or anything criminal, one, you are, how can I say, you are letting down the cause that you're supposed to represent. And you're also giving the law enforcement and your rivals a clear map to where you are and what you're doing, which is a high risk behavior. You know, so you can look at several magazines such as the Fred magazines, the Don Diva magazines, the Stress magazines. These are magazines that was out, I know, in the 90s and mid 2000s. They probably archived right now. Perhaps they just have online platforms, but these are individuals that had the clout, had the power, limited power, had the ladies, the money, the materialistic goods, and unfortunately all of them are incarcerated. Right now they're in prison doing interviews. You know, they're telling you what they thought they could have done better, and telling you majority of people, about 85%, about 85 people that's locked up, that's incarcerated, they will all tell you that some female, whether it's their mother, grandmother, aunt, baby moms, wifey, whatever, had told them either not to go outside or told them not to go with a certain individual. They had given some type of warning before they got incarcerated. That's 8 times out of 10. And in the visiting room for male, you mostly see females. Those are the mothers, the grandmothers, the daughters. Every now and then, the wine. That's just how it is, unfortunately. And then when females are incarcerated, you see less people because, once again, majority of people that's doing the visiting is the females. And you have some men visiting brothers, you have some men visiting the sisters. But according to statistics, there's more females that support people who are incarcerated than the males. Because the males are the ones who are incarcerated, the males are the ones with the working, busy, you know, or trying to do some type of gathering other than just saying free my dude, other than just having a hoodie. You know, it's more to life than that. In prison, doing interviews, you know, telling you that they could do it better, right? Telling you that it was a trap and that was all for a reason. You know, the modern day slavery is basically prison. That's the 13th Amendment. Don't get tricked by people saying, oh, a 9 to 5 is slavery. No, the slavery is actually prison. You know, this journey, right, away from the dark side isn't easy, you know, especially if you're living in the hood. You know, you're living in the trenches, but it's possible. You know, you could be in the hood, but you don't have to be of the hood. It's all about people, places, and things. You know, we need to prioritize peace between the different factions and sectarian street organizations. You know, we need to come together as family despite religious, spiritual, or political beliefs. You know, I pray that our slain brothers and sisters, that Allah may bless their souls, forgive them their sins, and grant them paradise. You know, yes, I pray that they find true repentance for those that are incarcerated. I pray for those who die doing something righteous. I pray for those innocent bystanders caught in the crossfire. We cannot let their deaths be in vain. I pray for those who haven't been incarcerated but have seen the light, you know, through the grace of God, and changed their life and went through their own process of restorative justice and redemption. Now, what do we truly own, right? We need to own more businesses, more schools, more land, more building, opposed to just renting. We need to get involved with group economics, where have, you know, the checks and balances to make sure no one's trying to get over nobody. Have full transparency. The road is about establishing the kingdom of righteousness here on earth while we are alive. And I'm here as me, Alim. Just a brother, I'm a brother who's just a star amongst many stars in the sky. I'm just a grain of sand amongst many sand in the beach. Feel me? There's no big I's or little U's. In leadership development, and community development, and social justice leadership. I'm not a paralegal. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a professor. I'm not a teacher. I'm a facilitator, a hood scholar. I'm autodidactic, self-educated. I'm also college educated, street educated, prison educated, theological educated, biblical and Islamic, and amongst very other theological subjects that I came across. I don't glorify crime. So the revenge stops now. The cycle of violence stops with us. That's to stop the recidivism rate. The ultimate goal is freedom, justice, and equality for all. So join me in his awakening. Join me in his unite in the trenches, as the Golden Child says it, coming from Chi-Town. You know, unite in the street organizations that's been going on for a while. They already had first little segments of it, but we also have to get rid of any type of criminal mentality or criminal activity to keep the law enforcement away. Facts. So the mission is bigger than me. It's about the cause. My purpose in this life is to lead, organize, inspire, and ultimately serve humanity, to submit my will to Allah, and to keep my obligations and responsibilities. And I can't do it alone. I'm establishing a non-profit organization dedicated to this very work: gang intervention and prevention, political education, leadership development, feeding the hunger, prisoner reentry, and fostering peace and unity. If you are someone who believes in this cause, whether you are Muslim or non-Muslim, Christian or non-Christian, from the streets or academia, Black, Latino, Middle Eastern, white, even people from the LGBTQ, if you share the values of righteousness, justice, building a better world without hypocrisy or bigotry, then I invite you to join the nonprofit organization, or also the Citizen Action of New York, or Noble Young Lords Party. But particular, this is for the nonprofit organization in particular. I'm actively seeking passionate, committed individuals to serve on the board of directors and to be part of our core team. We need people with diverse skills, shared principles, and the unwavering dedication to see the vision become reality. You know, we will eventually offer online classes where I can facilitate and share educational and legal information from my lived experience and studies, also with collaborators, and always and also within the boundaries of what's allowed, right? And this, if this resonates with your spirit, if you feel this is a purpose that you want to live, then I urge you, connect with me. Let's build it together. My contact information will be in the description below. You just DM me. Alem Cepeda. I'm in LinkedIn profile, YouTube, Facebook. So I'll close out with this poem right here. The block, a siren, sweet and cold, 1,000 stories, too often sold. For fleeting power, a shiny chain. We bought the lie, endured the pain. Another brother fallen, silent, gone. His spirit waiting for the righteous dawn. And then the echoes, revenge, paid the cause. But in that fire, too much truth is lost. The mirrors of blood stains, can't you see? The chains are forged for you and me. A modern slavery in a cell of stone. A legacy of greatness we must own. No more to the savage, no more to the lies, no more to the demons. We are soldiers for true justice, reaching for the skies. They call us savage, wild, untamed, but the legacy of is facts that we came from kings and queens. While ancient wisdom patiently proclaimed, we built great cities, touched the very stars. Our minds, our hearts transcend these prison bars. The 13th clause a wicked bitter sting. The patriarch, the fear that it brings, but Allah whispers, and the markers hum. That hustles in your spirit, let it come. The mirror's blood stain, can't you see? The chains are forged for you and me. A modern day slavery in a cell of stone. A legacy of greatness we must own. No more the savage, no more the lie. A soldier for true justice. A soldier for true justice, reaching for the sky. Later for the colors. Shed the mental chains. Shed the gangster image. Shed the mental chains. Beyond the corner, true dominion reigns. An entrepreneur, a vision bold and deep. While all regrets, the Don Diva creeps. Show you the end, the lonely whisper plead. I thought I'd do it better, lost that seed. The blind spot wide, the eagle's bitter pride. While truth and purpose proudly preside. The mirror's blood stain, can't you see? The chains are forged for you and me. A modern day slavery in a cell of stone. A legacy of greatness that we must own. A legacy that was stolen. That we was kings and queens, philosophers. We had golden empires, can't you see? Way before the transatlantic slavery. Andalusia, Spain, Islamic indeed, from 7/11/1492. And that's when the mayhem started, the blues. Kicked out the Moors and Sephardic Jews. They went through genocide. For those that survived, they had to convert to Catholicism or feel the wrath of the church. Assalamu alaikum, peace. Have a blessed one. Wake up. And we're not converts, we are reverts. Cause before the transatlantic slave trade, Spain was Islamic, was Muslim, from 711 to 1492. That's called the Golden Era. The land of Andalusia. And when King Ferdinand, Queen Isabella got together, transatlantic slave trade happened. They used the Moors as Moriscos. The Moors was already over here. Moors are Morenos, black Muslims. They was already here in America before the transatlantic slave trade. They already interacted with the indigenous people. Mansa Musa came here first. Was one of the ones that came here with the richest. You see historical facts such as the Olmecs, such as the Cherokees, and even the Africans. A certain segment of Africans that went to the Caribbean and also that came to North America, South America, was either from the Yoruba tribe or some Islamic tribe, and those that fought back were mainly Muslims. Those are the Cimarrones. And the Yoruba people fought too, but mainly it was like the Muslim warriors that fought, and that's how you got the Loíza there that you had today in Puerto Rico. That's a land that was built by runaway slaves that fought for their freedom. Alright? With that, I close. Assalamu alaikum. Salute. Have a blessed and productive day. Peace.